A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Kenya. I'm glad that you're here with us for these conversations. Of course, I'm here with Professor Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
Good.
Yes. We've had this kind of cash crunch in the civil service in the country, definitely. People talking of course, initially it was just rumors that the government is unable to pay its workers. And of course, people are saying it's been years. In fact, others are saying we've never witnessed such kind of occurrences in the country. And we had the leader of the minority in the parliament, of course, Opio Wandai, come out and give very elaborate criticism of what the government has actually found itself into. But the members of parliament from Kenya Kwanza's side were very quick in rubbishing those claims and saying these things are not true. Let me get your point. One, why is it that these leaders were so quick in saying so, yet just yesterday, the deputy president revealed to us and confirmed that yes, the country is facing this financial crisis.
It's called sycophancy. It is leaders who do not have a stand, who stand for nothing. They speak to please other people. So you speak stupidly to please somebody, then the same person tomorrow speaks in a way that leaves you looking very cheap and foolish. Yeah. Cheap sycophancy.
Definitely.
So what is killing this country. Sometimes stand with the truth. Say this is our government, we have formed it, but we have challenges. We are asking the top leadership of our government to ensure that we don't travel in that direction. But on those few people who are criticizing government, you must know these times are difficult times. Let's give government time to give us some explanation, and let's see how they are going to. But when you come out in the manner you are suggesting, but that's how Kenya is for you. We don't have leaders. We have opportunists and cheap fellows who are hungry. Yeah.
I've been following up keenly what is taking place in the country with regards to even the functionality of our devolved units down there. The counties are also crying that for the past 4 months they've not received their fair share of the national cake, and that it actually impedes their functions down there. But something is actually trying to play out here, because we've not seen even the chair of the Council of Governors, Honorable Anwar Guru, come forth and say, you're not doing it right. This is what is happening.
The same thing, so because she's deep. She's deep into Kenya Kwanza. So since she must be, she must defend Kenya Kwanza. She's an apologist. At the very worst, she can only keep quiet. That's the problem with this country.
When are we now going to balance between leadership, governance, and politics? In
this country? Difficult. So long as Kenyans continue recycling the same fellows, employing, voting for the worst people. People steal your money, they run down your economy, they rob everything around them, and then you elect them. So you have to pay for it.
Meaning we are in this kind of basket to stay.
You ain't seen no nothing, as Americans will tell you. You ain't seen no nothing yet. Because you have not learned. Kenyans have not learned. This economy will go to a halt. One day, pop, it's mame. 6 months, no salaries. Bread 200, unga 6. Then maybe Kenyans will learn the meaning of leadership, because you cannot move anywhere without leadership. If you have a company, it requires leadership. If you have a school, it requires leadership. If you have a college, it requires leadership. If you have an organization, if you have a country, a county, a ward, everything requires leadership. Minus leadership, there's nothing you'll do. So if Kenyans think just about anybody can do anything, let them pay for it. They will have to pay for it.
You were talking of sycophancy here among our leaders, and you're saying that is very much evident. We've even seen these actually come out in terms of a number of leaders, especially you talked of the parliament. You say that all of them are a little bit, our members of parliament are compromised to that matter. We also saw the retired veterans from the military come out and actually give the view on the kind of bipartisan talks that we are having right now. And they were also alluding to the fact that to them, the parliament is compromised and therefore not going to give us what it is that we deserve. Now, we are also looking at this kind of situation, and I'm asking you, now, when is it that our members of parliament are now going to stand firm and then tell us that this is the right way to go, let's do this, or rather, when will we now reach a point where we can fully trust our parliament to speak for us, our governors, and every elected
when we have governors, when we shall have governors, they will speak for us. When we shall have members of parliament, but for now we don't have them. So we are on our own. Parliament cannot be trusted to do anything, you know that. Yeah.
So can our leaders just be there?
Parliament is so highly compromised. It cannot do anything. Look, the president just looked at these weak fellows and said, these ones, even the ones of Azimio, I know. And they dangled CDF, which was disappearing. They all went down on their knees, begging for CDF. And then the president gave them illegally, unconstitutionally. So can such a house say anything against the president? Nothing. So they're already weakened and compromised. So we don't have a parliament.
So they can stay there, look at the kind of situation where the country is, but because of the political affiliations, they cannot talk for the common man. Political
affiliations and greed. I've told you, political affiliations, for those who are on Kenya Kwanza, they must be sycophants. They must say what the president wants to hear. And those who came from Azimio and joined the president because of their tummies and greed for money and something. Now, even the Azimio ones who remained diehard, even the closest to Raila, had to crawl on their bellies to beg for CDF. After the courts had told them this is clearly unconstitutional and it's common sense. Now the president assisted them to get the CDF. He knew what he was doing.
Okay.
So now they are on their bellies. Where's Yamuka hapo? Wamelala wanangorota. And you say you have an MP. These are useless fellows.
Let's get
I didn't even hear one. The only person I almost heard talking like an MP was Boni Khalwale in terms of these CDF things, I think, or CDF and I think these Senate things. Only Boni Khalwale. The rest of these fellows are all useless. I expected like 30, 40 MPs to come and say, the courts have ruled these things unconstitutional. Somebody wants to use it to make us indebted to him. We shall not allow.
Okay, let's get back and address the cash crunch that is actually facing the civil service in the country, and definitely what we are witnessing right now in the country. Now, the deputy president actually affirmed and confirmed all these claims that had been there. Initially, it was just there in the media, but we did not receive any official communication from the government. Now, recently, the deputy president came out and said, yes, we are in this kind of crisis, we are in this situation, and the country is actually experiencing some sort of a cash crunch. But now, here we are. What actually caught my attention is the reason that which he gave, actually, saying very well that you blame the handshake regime for all this mess, because I told you back then and you people thought that perhaps I was just joking, that we inherited a dilapidated economy with empty coffers. These statements have been made ever since. Do you think perhaps right now, 7 months into the leadership, is our government justified to give us this kind of excuses and still continue playing blame games, telling us to blame the handshake regime? That is the former.
Listen to the deputy president makes me ashamed of being a Kenyan, actually. But this is the country we have. And we listen to people and clap for them. So when you hear people clapping for someone speaking like that, then you say, it's okay. Wacha tukae kwa inchi, wacha kiumane. Because the deputy president is contradicting himself. The deputy president tells us, and he has said, they inherited nothing. They found you 93 million. But then they proceeded to spend millions and billions. Where was it coming from?
That is a question.
Even the coronation alone, right, if I took over power and the country has no money, I'll just tell the chief justice to come to some small place like Uhuru Park and I eat the Bible and people go home. I will not squander hundreds of millions of shillings for my coronation if there's no money in the country. How many trips have they made since they took over power? How much have they spent in their offices? How much are they planning to use on vehicles? How much do they use on buying flowers and making tea in their offices? That's a contradiction. Doesn't show people who got no money. You get it? But the more serious contradiction He says they got only 93 billion. But then he proceeds, I don't know whether he has a problem with his capacity to think or analyze issues. In the same sitting, you are saying we got 93 million only. But then you are saying the money we collect is the money we use. But that's how government works. How did you expect to get money in the coffers? Now you know there's no money. Government doesn't collect money and keep. Government collects money and uses. You can talk to the treasury and the KRA know how they work. KRA knows how much money government requires this quarter. So when they have a 2.2 trillion target collection, they know how much they must collect in February, in March. You see? And that's the same money government is targeting to use for its expenditure, including paying salaries. So you see, if he can't see that contradiction of what he was saying and what he's still saying and what he's saying now, then there's little hope in these people. Because you yourself, you are saying government collects money and uses. But you want us to believe you could have gotten money in the coffer. Which money would you have gotten? Money is collected and used on a monthly basis. Daily basis, actually. So which money were you expecting to get in the coffers? That aside, all these are just excuses. Or people who have been given a government to run, but they have no idea how to run government. Absolutely. I can tell them, even if they have no idea. When you take government, you must run government. You don't look back and look for excuses. In any case, when you are campaigning to become president and deputy, you knew what the state of the economy. You cannot get so close to getting power if you don't know what the state of the economy is. You must know. In fact, you are briefed. You must know. You cannot be, you are about to become commander-in-chief of a country and you know zero until the day you take the Bible. Which country works like that? There can be no government, no country that works like that. That's, you will have to find things when you become president. Kuna kitu kama hiyo. You must know what you are getting into. And you must also know excuses will not be accepted. Uhuru was collecting money and he was using it. You say he was using it badly. You collect yours now and use well. What is stopping you from the one you are collecting from using it well? Why are you bringing Uhuru in? Uhuru collected his, you say he used badly. You collect yours and use well. I mean, it's as simple as it can be made clear even to a class 1 child. The previous government headed by Uhuru Kenyatta, you accuse it of collecting money and not using the money well. Now you are the one collecting. Collect and use well. Then we clap for you. Hello, Gachagua.
Okay. Just on the same note, of course, he gave another reason, saying very well that the loans that were borrowed by the previous regime and those loans have matured and they need to
you didn't know that.
They need to
you didn't know. So you didn't know when you were taking power. You knew there will be loans, and you know. It is public knowledge. Even you can know. You can go and check. It is even published. It's public knowledge. If I can know, how can a person who wanted to become government not know? You know. We know which loans were borrowed, when which one is maturing, it is public knowledge. It's not hidden by the treasury. It is public. Yeah. How would he not know? But in any case, why are they borrowing it now? Why are they borrowing? If they know borrowing brought us, and they said they would never borrow, but they're now borrowing. These are guys of contradictions.
Okay. When they talk of, there is this kind of phrase that has always been used all along. You can see it being used by the government side, talking of the handshake regime, definitely referring to the kind of tools that was there between the Right Honorable Raila Odinga and the former President Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, of course, and then absolving the deputy president at that particular moment, William Ruto, from that kind of government. So my question is this: do you still believe that there is any way in which the handshake, or rather that kind of truce that was there between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta actually fermented into what is actually into the economic turmoil that we're facing right now?
No, government exists in perpetual succession. When you come over, you continue with what your predecessor was doing. There are things you review, others you may stop, others you may pen, others you may... But government just continues. If there was a mess, you take care of that mess. So they have not told us this is where Uhuru was going wrong. And this is the correction we are putting in place. And this is the sacrifice we shall have to make. And this is how long it will take for us to correct. They're just talking. They're just talking. Uhuru was long on projects. Watu wakamwambia watu wakuli barabara. But the guys are busy launching projects, including fresh ones.
Yeah.
They are busy launching projects, new ones. Committing government resources to new projects when Kenyans are hungry. So what's the difference between them and Uhuru in terms of being long on projects? What Raila had said, and which I agreed with, is when I take power, we shall look at priorities. Some things we shall suspend, others we will stop, others will go slow, others will face them, so that we create enough money, we divert money from some government expenditure projects and cushion Kenyans from high cost of living, including giving them free education and giving the old people. But more importantly, a government cannot convince me, and I want Gachagua to convince me, that they are going through hard times to the point of people about to miss their salaries. And yet, they are wasteful in their expenditure. They are traveling all over the country, all over the world. The delegations are impossible. How can you convince me? The government must tighten. We must tighten our belts. The government is having a problem with money when you are overspending badly. Secondly, if government is serious that it is overspending, there is no money, to the point civil servants must be ready to get salary delays. I mean, to accept delays in their salaries, and even that we might be retrenched. We can accept it because this is our country and we must make sacrifices. But what single thing has government done to convince me they are in that situation? Have they stopped theft? You know, if you just moved as government to check on theft alone, just theft, what people call corruption, is just theft. If this government can rein on corruption, if they can put their foot down and say hakuna kuiba pesa serikali, jaribu uone. Bei ya vitu itateremka na treasury itakuwa na pesa. So this government is not convincing anybody.
So this idea of farming we are giving.
Yeah, which farming? That's a joke. In fact, that's the joke of the century.
You didn't answer my question. My question was, okay, and then remember I asked you, what is this idea of the handshake regime? Do you believe in it?
Pardon?
Is there something like a handshake regime?
Coming on or before? What is that? I don't get your question.
Okay, the government is talking of the handshake regime, and that is what I want you to... Do you believe there was something like handshake regime? Because
no.
There are certain people who say we only have the former government led by President Uhuru.
We had a government led by Uhuru Kenyatta. We have a government led by William Ruto. How Uhuru organized his government, who he collaborated with, whose advice he sought, is not important. That's behind us. We now have a government. And the government is led by William Ruto. He must deliver to the people of Kenya. And when there are challenges, he must convince us. We are Kenyans. We will see. Tell him, here you are Mr. President. We understand. We know you can't do anything. Hapa tuwezi kukulaumu. But here, please, here you have not convinced us. Okay? You cannot convince me by taking me back to Uhuru Kenyatta. No! Just convince me. I say we made a mistake because we were in politics. We said Ukraine had nothing to do with cost of living, the Russia-Ukraine war. We said it was handshake. Well, that was politics. We know it's... We said the dollar had nothing. No, that was politics. We said the price of fuel, oil, international oil, that was politics, please understand. But now we are running government. The truth of the matter is the dollar has run amok. The Ukrainian war has meant grain supply in the world is down. Pressure on gas and oil is on. You get it? And therefore, these things are affecting us negatively. COVID we denied, but the truth is COVID has left its impact. The scars have not healed. So as a government, we are trying to maneuver. We are trying to face these challenges. So you'll have to bear with us. In the meantime, because we understand you are suffering, we'll lower the price of fuel from 178 on petrol to 150 by removing the road development levy, by removing this levy. You see, we shall now lower electricity tariff kwa kutoa hii na hii na hii. We are going to the energy sector and locking out all the thieves and looking at those contracts. Some of them are so fake. Electricity will come down by 50%. Unga, we shall bring it down to 110. And these are the measures. But after that, please bear with us, because the world is experiencing challenges. Why would we not?
Definitely. Yeah, you have it from Professor Herman Manyora. We are waiting to see the kind of impact that some of these conversations will definitely have on the governance in this country. And we are waiting to see that our country is back on track and that civil servants are paid at the end of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stop this conversation at this time, but please do not fail to tune in to some of our programs that will be coming in next. Of course, Jeriel Kabiro will be coming up here with his political conversations with Herman Manyora here. And of course, Richard Mwenje will also be coming up here with Siasa Brigade and Business Glide. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okini.